I'm with Matt McNamara, Chief Investment Officer, Horizon 3 Healthcare. First of all, Matt, thank you very much for being a part of the Inside Network's Alternative Symposium.
Yeah, you're welcome, James.
Matt, what inspired the creation of Horizon 3 Healthcare, and how did the backgrounds of the founders shape the firm's vision?
Yeah, well, the founders are two people, Jason Sun and Mike Sullivan. Jason Sun is originally a Chinese gentleman who runs a very, very successful skincare product and peptide company in China. He moved to Australia about 20 years ago, and he wanted to capitalise on the developments that were happening in the Australian market. And he and Mike decided they were going to invest in technologies out of universities, and they needed a fund manager. One of the directors, Glenn Cross, who's been the CEO of Oz Biotech for a long time, very well connected in the global healthcare sector, knew me, knew that I had just finished a stint of 14 years at one fund and at Bioscience Managers, and they put the prospect to me. And I said, no, not doing early stage. I've done early stage, I've done pre-seed, it's just too risky. And I put my later stage investment strategy to them, and they agreed, and I also believe they're quite thankful because of the long timelines.
And your background as a molecular biologist must play into the fund's investment style and strategy?
Yeah, well, look, my science is quite old, but it got me into pharmaceutical, and then I really did want to be the link between great Australian science and great outcomes for patients. And so being a scientist, I had to work on how I was going to do that. I went to work for Merck and J&J for 11 years and learnt all about sales, marketing, and general management, and ran some of Johnson & Johnson franchise, but I still wasn't finding my link. So I joined a startup company, technology out of Sydney University, and I discovered these people on the board called VCs, and I learnt what a VC was, venture capitalist, and I thought that's what I want to do. So 25 years later, I'm still doing it.
Healthcare VC, though, it's a highly competitive field, and successful investments are rare. So how does Horizon 3 stand out when sourcing and securing getting into and access to the really top investment opportunities?
Sourcing is really key, and it's because our team has grey hair. We've been around for a long time. There's fantastic deal flow, and it's often friendly deal flow. It comes from people who you've dealt with before and you trust, and they're not just after your money. So, but even having said that, we look at 300 investments a year and we only make 3 investments. We have a very rigorous selection criteria that we call our Achilles Heel technique. We don't fall in love with presentations or companies that we meet. We actually try to dislike them. We find what their Achilles heel is, and if we can't in that first hour or 3 that we spend on that company, then it comes up as a shining light and probably in the top 20 that we'll do DD on for that year.
When you're evaluating potential investments, what are the key factors, the really crucial things you look for in clinical validation and market readiness and just strength of the scientific case?
Yeah, they are 3 very important things. There's a lot of things that are not specific to our industry, the healthcare industry, like the quality of the people, the quality of the board, the valuation, the access to capital. So they're all the given ones, but you've hit on 3 that are key. Intellectual property, and the life of that intellectual property, the regulatory pathway that they might have to take, but it's really novel. We need to have something that's novel. It's our decision that it's novel. Other investors will invest in things that are me too, a little bit better than the other one, because they'll get some market share. But for our exit strategy, which is to have the company acquired, it needs to be novel and then prove itself, of course. In that way, the acquirers are saying, we can afford to pay top dollar because this is a new, effective way of approaching this particular disease.
Your portfolio spans pharmaceuticals, but also medical devices and digital health. So how do you decide the proportions of capital you're going to allocate across those sectors?
You're not going to like my answer. We don't. People ask us, are we thematic or anything like that? It goes back to the due diligence process that I just talked about. It needs to be able to deliver on our investment strategy. And because of the shorter timelines, we have a 5-year fund. For a VC to have a 5-year fund is unheard of, and that's because we are such later stage, and we're bordering on PE investments. So if it can deliver a 1x per annum over a 5-year period, that we only need 3 or 4 of them out of our 10 portfolio companies to deliver our super 20% IRR, which is our benchmark.
I'm asking every speaker this question, Matt. Institutional investors were obviously earlier adopters of alternatives than the wholesale and the retail markets. Institutions allocate quite heavily to alternatives. So what's your advice for advisors who are looking to bring that institutional style approach into the private wealth portfolios that they look after?
Well, I've had institutional investors invest in my funds in the past, but because we're a new team this time, they're not. So I would say to those groups that you can actually get in on early with a proven fund manager, where the instos aren't necessarily touching at the moment because they're waiting to see a proven track record, and they'll miss out on the earlier ones.
Matt McNamara, Horizon 3 Healthcare, it's been a pleasure having you here at the Symposium.
Thank you, James.